Thank you very much, everybody. It's a great honor to have the Crown Prince with us. Saudi Arabia has been a very great friend and a big purchaser of equipment and lots of other things.
So as we all know by now, our good old boy, our dear friend Donald Trump, he's back in the races, baby, 2024 all the way. And even though he's really not in a position to win a general election, he recently, landed another conflict of interest deal upon the literal Mountain Everest sized conflict of interest that he already has going on with him, a $4 billion deal. During Mr. Trump's time in the White House, the Trump International Hotel in Washington was frequently a destination for foreign government officials, including delegations in town for planned meetings with Mr. Trump. The hotel received more than $3.75 million from foreign governments from 2017 to 2020, the House investigators estimated. And again, that's just what happened while he was in office. But then let alone, like his entire life full of white collar crime, not paying his taxes, ripping everybody off, destroying everything in his path. So this is nothing new, but definitely an interesting story nonetheless. But now let's talk about Saudi Arabia.
Any lingering worry he might have felt likely lifted after the White House said the prince, known as MBS, had immunity in a civil lawsuit filed by the former fiancé of Jamal Khashoggi, who was murdered and dismembered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in 2018.
Saudi Arabia really cracks me up when they do all this back and forth with raising, cutting off oil supplies so that our oil prices can go up, making all these threats against the United States, when in reality, Saudi Arabia is where it is because of the United States, because we give them so many military weapons, because we've been backing them for decades, because ain't nothing in Saudi Arabia but sand and oil. And the way that their oppressive regime government operates, they haven't really moved to do any type of other real major exports. They're building this NEOM project, this line city, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world that's not going to happen.
The line will be home to 9 million residents and will be built with a footprint of just 34 square kilometers. And we are designing it to provide a healthier, more sustainable quality of life.
Instead of building a normal city with opportunities, we're going to build a cramped city that runs for 170 kilometers in one single line. And it's going to have this and it's going to have that. And it's like, it ain't going to have none of that. This is just a long line of dictators who nobody can tell them no. They haven't innovated. And their economy really is screwed. So we really need to step away from Saudi Arabia in general. We just do. It's about that time. Now, again, the reality is that Donald Trump is one of the more corrupt people that we've seen in office, especially just in terms of how open he is with it, how loud he is with it. And not just corruption, but also just his character in general. This is nothing new. This $4 billion deal is not going to do anything for his supporters. They're not going to care about that. They're going to see it as a good thing. They're going to see it as a partnership between us and the Middle East. Now, I'm interested to see how Ron DeSantis is really going to come into play with this. Are the establishment Republicans going to start pointing to things like this? Because they definitely don't want him back in office because they know that, again, he really isn't in a position to win a general election. So it'll be interesting to see how hard DeSantis really goes in for Donald Trump. But again, this is an interesting look at yet another corrupt deal from Donald Trump.